Coming up on this episode of the Village Idiom.
Fruit farm. I owe my success as a fruit farmer to my dad because whenever I felt in trouble or scared, he always told me to grow a pair.
Dum dum da da, Village Idiom.
Hello and welcome to the Village Idiom.
We are a podcast that every single week we choose a popular saying to take an admittedly shallow, hopefully comedic, once in a while interesting, if we're lucky, educational dive into the usage, into the origins, and the mystery of said idiom. I'll be your host today. My name is Jurassic Mark.
And I am the Year of the Rabbit.
That is, when did that start?
I think it started on Sunday.
Is it?
We're just a few days into the Year of the Rabbit. We're off to the races, so to speak.
Oh, we should have opened up with rabbit sounds or...
What sounds do rabbits make?
You know, like...
Macaw!
Rabbit!
That's the sound a rabbit makes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's
Happy
good.
Rabbit Day year.
It's good for all of our friends celebrating, all the legitimate children out there celebrating
With
Happy New Year.
Gold coins and red envelopes.
Oh, man, I love the red envelopes.
Some mooncake.
Now, I just heard today, no, it's not the Lunar Festival.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It's the same thing.
All right. Is it mooncake time?
Yeah. Did you not get some on
I
Sunday?
didn't get any mooncakes.
I got some on Sunday.
This is garbage.
She just said it was
New Year's lame already.
rice cake, but
Well, that's not a mooncake.
it was.
Well, did it have, was it made with, moon?
Moon cheese.
Oh, is that what it is?
No, it was that gooey, rice glue cake.
That's not a mooncake.
What's a mooncake?
Because I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, that's what they were handing out for...
I don't...
But it still
no,
is...
A mooncake
Chinese
is,
New Year, still lunar, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know enough about it other than red packets are flowing. People are happy. I just learned today that only, apparently, singles are intended to get red packets.
Craft singles.
Yes. Yeah. There's 4 ounces of milk in one of those. That's what you're giving somebody.
I thought that... I didn't know it had anything to do with singles. I thought it was children.
Well, they're single, mostly. Yeah. So you could be 50 and still getting a red packet. But I think as soon as you get married
So it has
up,
to do with singleness, not being a child.
I think so. But I'm just talking
Well,
about
when you're
my
50
ear,
and single,
you probably don't need red packets anymore.
who's giving you that?
I don't know, your family who... I don't know if it's a respectful thing or oh, here you go. Still getting red packets, huh?
It's my 50th year of getting red packets.
That's why I stayed single. So I love the red packets.
That's funny. Well, yeah, happy rabbit year.
Yeah, so
I'm sure
I made
that's how
sure
they say it.
as part of it, I brought you, I know this is
Oh, that's great.
this is, I brought you a fortune cookie because someone passed them along to us. And so I'm sure that our actual authentic Chinese friends are what are you morons doing?
Well, I'll tell you a little trick about reading your fortune from a fortune cookie is
Okay.
at the end of it, you
no.
include on a podcast.
Okay, because the thing I thought you might say, I'm glad you didn't say that.
So mine says, that's the French side. French fortune cookies.
Yes.
Mine says, keep your idealism practical on a podcast.
Okay. And mine says, you are quiet, adaptable, and sensitive to others on a podcast.
That's so
This is the worst cookie for me. This is the opposite of things I am.
Even if you didn't add on a podcast to that, that's just...
You are quiet, adaptable, and sensitive to others.
That doesn't even say...
What idiot made this?
Fortune cookies always are
Sensitive
you are
to others.
going to be. You'll find somebody dark and handsome. This year will be lucky. It's futuristic, and this one is just...
I don't want to find someone dark.
You're
and
quiet. You okay? That's what basically it's saying. It's you're really quiet today. Are you all right?
handsome. You are withdrawn.
What are you thinking right now?
You were withdrawn and pulled away. What? But I am sensitive to others, so that's good.
When
I'm
it
finally
says,
glad I got that one.
when it says keep your idealism practical, idealism,
And to yourself. Keep your idealism to yourself on a podcast.
idealism. Keep your dreams, your goals practical. Keep your idealism practical.
You know, your idealistic goals.
So goals.
Ideally how things would work out. Keep that to yourself.
No, it
on a
says keep it
podcast.
practical.
Oh, yeah, keep it practical.
And then I've got lottery numbers.
Bonus.
Did you ever hear about that?
4, 8, 15, 16, 23, 42.
That's what I got.
Crazy.
Did you ever hear about that? There was this investigation because it's one particular year so many people won. They're like, so nobody went away like a crazy gazillionaire, but there were so many winners that they started an investigation. Like, how did that many people? And so they started going through the individuals one by one by one by one by one. And 99% of them got their numbers off a fortune cookie.
And the same printed
And they all had
cookie.
the same
That's funny.
printed thing.
Well, I guess of all ways to make money, the red envelope and Chinese New Year is one of the ways to make money. It's kind of a story of someone, that goes from like poverty to wealth.
Poverty to wealth. You know that old saying.
Poverty to wealth.
Hang on. I know what you're trying to say, but I got to look backwards for this. Here's a little something from Animaniacs to help us out. You ready for this?
We may have sailed too close to the wind on this one, Sibs.
That was a little quiet. Let's try again. But I think we heard it.
We may have sailed too close to the wind on this one, Sibs.
Sailing. That's the wrong one.
I think that's next week.
Oh, man. This is how advanced planning.
You're so advanced.
Should we edit that out or just keep going?
No, just keep going. We mistakes are human. That is what we do.
There we go. How about this one then?
Yeah, from rags to riches. Yeah, we back on Easy Street.
Sanford and Son, Rags to Riches.
Rags to Riches.
That's what we're talking about today.
Yeah, Sailing Too Close to the Sun is next week's podcast.
Okay, well, look at that. I'm ahead of the game.
Well, it's just a story of success.
Rags to Riches. Pretty much, well, that's half my story.
Still in the rags.
Still
phase.
in rags, but I believe.
Okay,
I'm believing.
Village Idiom children.
Maybe I shouldn't believe for it. I'm supposed to keep my idealism.
I've got a game for you.
For me?
Yeah, and Village Idiom children, feel free to play it at home if you can hear it.
You know what that sound is? That's the sound of fortune.
You're just eating that fortune. That's the sound of cavities bursting. Okay, I'm going to lay out all of the answers to all of these. These are movies, and they are rags to riches kind of stories. Okay, I will throw out bits and pieces, and all you have to do, Village Idiom children, is beat Jurassic Mark to the punch. Okay, rags to riches-y kind of stories.
So I just got to figure out the name of the movie?
Yeah.
Okay. Trading Places.
She was a street lady of the evening.
Pretty Woman.
Wow.
Did you beat me?
Julia Roberts.
Oh, do I need the name of the person?
No.
Pretty Woman.
The answer is Pretty Woman. Okay,
Walking down the street.
Village Idiom children. Did you
Kind
beat
I'd like
him
to
the
meet.
buzzer? Okay. For this second one, maybe the sun will come out tomorrow. Annie for number 2. Village Idiom children. Did you beat that one in? Okay. I hope you got your junk together here. Okay, this is Rags to Riches story about the
Trading Places.
Colombian Bam Bam. A little story of Tony Montana and
It's a movie or TV show?
It's a movie played by Al Pacino, where
It's a gangster movie.
He
Godfather.
From humble beginnings to getting a massive cut across his
Scarface.
I'm pretty sure the Village Idiom children beat you on that one.
I've never seen Scarface.
Really?
Yeah, no, I never have.
Say hello to my little friend.
Yeah, I've seen all the scenes. I've just never seen them in order.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
I've heard it's great comedy.
Okay, this little Indian adventure follows the tales of a young
Runner.
Of a young man who
Slumdog Millionaire.
Slumdog Millionaire.
That's like Rags to Riches in the title.
Slumdog Millionaire. Okay, There's a couple more here.
Trading Places.
This is the story of Eddie Murphy.
Trading Places.
No, so not that one. Okay, that's not even on my list. Okay, this is a story of a young man who finds a golden ticket.
Willy Wonka. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Village Idiom
Willy
children.
Wonka.
Did you win that one? Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
This is a story all about how.
Yes. Okay. This is a little story about the advent of Facebook.
Social.
And how this person
social something.
beat out the Winklevoss twins
Social
in
media.
order to
What was it called?
in order
Social-
to interconnect with other people online.
I can't think of the other word.
I'm trying to lay it out for you. When you
Social
interconnect with
disorder.
things, when you kind of
Social web. Social
when you-
network.
Social network. There it is. And finally, the last one in this Rags to Riches story about our friend Will Smith and how he and his son were living in
Pursuit of happiness.
the pursuit
With
of
a Y.
Yes, pursuit of happiness. Village Idiom children, how'd you do out there? Did you get? You were pretty fast.
Except for Scarface, and I couldn't think of network.
Yeah,
Social something. I'm like, it's not social media. What is
justice,
that? Social justice. Social light.
socializing,
Socializing.
social butterfly. Anyways, good
Social
job.
studies.
Good job out there. These are some Rags to Riches stories.
That's great.
Yeah, little something to get your brain spinning.
That was good. I'm glad you brought a game. I have a game for you now.
Sweet.
It's to guess the origin story of the idiom Rags to Riches.
Okay,
You want to do that?
let's do it. Let's jump in. Let's make this thing happen.
All right. I'm going to give you 3 selections.
Okay.
One of these 3 is indeed correct.
Oh, okay. Yep.
First one. I'm going to keep them short and simple without filling in too many details. Keep it vague. Does the Rags to Riches idiom come from the early days of newspapers?
Okay.
Second one. Does the idiom Rags to Riches find its origins in the fairy tale Rumpelstiltskin?
You dastardly human.
Third one. And the first time I've ever used this as an option.
Does it have the word Thailand in it?
Does it have an unknown origin story?
Oh, because you say that, it leads me to think that. I was going to go with Rumpelstiltskin, but no, I know that story. I'm going to go with, there is no idea because this is the first time you've used that. There might be a reason. It's not the first time we've actually or had an idiom that doesn't have an origin story.
No, it's not the first time, but it's the first time I've
Given
given it as an option.
you usually make up a third thing. I guess. I feel stupid. And then you go, actually, there is no. That seems more appropriate to what would happen. So I'm going to go with C because I do not want to get duped.
Unknown origin story. Final answer?
Unknown origin story. Village children, clock in.
All right, here we go.
I said some words. Where'd they go? Where'd they go? No one can know. I turned around and looked behind. Those words came from another mind.
Sometimes that little jingle just feels good.
Dobby Ravies, thank you again. 4 years running.
All right, the idiom Rags to Riches has its, it goes back in its usage at least as far back as the 1880s.
So there's an origin. Great.
So it could go back further. Rags to Riches, of course, we haven't described it directly, refer to the humble, or no, rags refers to the humble clothing that a person might wear when they're in a state of
Like if
poverty.
you had jeans that were torn and
Yeah, except those are expensive now. Man, they've, talking about cultural appropriation, the number of things we've stolen from the homeless for fashion.
Daniel Tosh has a great joke on that with, okay, I've solved poverty. We can give jeans to homeless people to make sure that they're clothed until they wear them out and they get threadbare. And then we take them back because we don't want them to be fashionable.
Exactly. So that's what rags refers to is poverty. And this idiom has continued since the 1880s. Notice how I haven't got to the origins yet. Continued since the 1880s because they presume because of its alliteration. We've noticed that with a few of these. When there's alliteration,
So it's English.
that's why it worked. It's like Rags to Riches. That's catchy. Although the precise origin
From poverty to prosperity.
remains unknown. You got it right.
Is it?
The actual origin is unknown. A lot of times it goes back to the stories of an American writer named Horatio Alger,
Okay.
who lived from 1834 to 1899, and often his stories associated with sort of a rags to riches story. And so he wrote quite a bit of poor boys who through their own great work ethic or whatever the case may be, became rich young men. And that's the closest thing to an origin story, which isn't saying much, because any author could write a story like that. In fact, there are stories of rags to riches stories that predate Horatio Alger and the idiom itself.
The truest rags to riches story I can think of is actually quite current, and it is the Sham Wow. That is a rags to riches story.
Wow.
The Sham Wow.
That's
Not just
great.
wow, Sham Wow.
That's really great.
That's rags to riches, baby.
That is really great.
Yeah.
Wow.
An
That-
authentic rags to riches.
rags to riches. How did that thing become so...
They were looking for a modern version of rags to riches. So
Wow. Well, I have some examples of true rags to riches stories throughout history. This is from history.com. Catherine I, her story could literally be, because Cinderella, there's a classic rags to riches story, right? And her story is almost that.
did she go from riches to rags to riches?
Well, she went from...
'Cause her dad had moolah.
Yeah, it depends on the version we don't know the exact story of the dad, but the stepmom took all his money, so she at least had some riches, but not princess level, which she becomes in the end.
Right.
So Catherine I of Russia is a Cinderella story, totally. She was born in 1684 into a family of Lithuanian peasants.
This sounds like a Disney special.
Right? And she was orphaned at the age of 3 after both of her parents died from the plague, taken in by a pastor, spent her youth as a housemaid.
That's where she made her money. Working for a pastor.
Totally. Yeah.
It's the poor feeding the
No,
poor.
she didn't work for the pastor. He took her in. She lived as a housemaid, and then she was captured at 18 years old and taken to Moscow. And she was a servant in the home of a high-ranking government official. And it was there that she met the Russian emperor then, Peter the Great. And despite being uneducated, zero history, no lineage, she couldn't even read, she charmed him with her beauty, her wit, they say.
That works.
And soon, a passionate affair.
Well, there you
with
go.
fortune cookies.
Wow.
So they got married in 1712, and she became the first
Hashtag me too.
first lady. Peter the Great's first lady.
That's amazing. That's very Cinderella.
But if you go to Wikipedia and look up the rags to riches, it gives so many examples of rags to riches, historical examples, modern examples. There was one, let's see if I can find it really quick here. I want to say Charles Bronson.
What do you call two successful Vietnamese people? It's that Nguyen scenario.
What?
That's for all my Vietnamese friends out there.
Oh, man, I'm going to get it wrong.
Nguyen, Nguyen.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of.
It's a Vietnamese joke.
Catherine of Russia, there she is again. Bette Midler was, I don't know what you call rags to riches. Bette Midler was born and raised by her father and mother. Her dad was just a house painter. They lived in Hawaii, so it's a long shot from L.A., but is that really rags?
No.
Cher was born in California to a truck driver with gambling problems.
How many of us, it's not like you don't come from wealth, but you are undoubtedly doing fine in life.
Oh, this was an interesting one to me. Axl Rose, born in Lafayette, Indiana, to a poor and very religious family.
He was a PK, yep.
And you knew that? Mm-hmm. Okay. And so he sang in a trio with his brother and sister when he was a kid, which I would love to find that little footage. That would be gold. And then once his schoolmates found out of his family's origins, and I'm assuming their religiosity, he just rebelled, and he hasn't stopped. He became a habitual criminal before music and all the wrong things in life, and now is probably doing quite fine off of his
every rose has its thorns.
Paradise City money. Mm-hmm. Oh, here it is. This is the one I was looking for.
Wasn't it his stepdad?
I don't know.
I think. Yeah. Anyways, continue.
Charles Bronson was born from a poor coal mining family of Lithuanian descent. So was Catherine. What? He began working.
Talk about a death wish.
He began working in the coal mines at the age of 10 after his father died. And his family was so poor that at one time he had to wear his sister's dress to school because of the lack of clothing otherwise.
They're so poor, it was just Poe.
They couldn't even afford the ore.
Yeah, it's just that's
In a
how
coal
rough,
mine, they couldn't get the ore.
that's how rough it was.
And then he grows up to be like Mr. Action Star,
Yeah, those are great movies.
right? Went to school in a dress, his sister's dress, because he had no other clothes. It's funny that it says he went to school in a dress. Like, I don't think he went to the coal mine in a dress.
No.
Maybe that's why he had to wear the dress.
And depending on how you did the dress, it's not making it sound like he tied it up like a crop top or something. It's like, hi guys, here I am. Like,
Right.
That's not going to fly in.
Do you know who Jason K is?
No.
Do you know the band Jamiroquai?
I know Special K. No.
You don't know the band Jamiroquai?
No.
Oh, you'd like them.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, Jamiroquai, so Jason K lived on the streets as a teenager, was even stabbed at one point. Rough life. And Jamiroquai sold 26 million albums. They're great. They're great. Anyway, the list is like, just goes on and on. Coco Chanel, Charlie Chaplin, Chow Yun Fat, Kurt Cobain, Eminem, Chris Gardner, Jimi Hendrix, Michael Jackson, Mahalia Jackson, LeBron James.
So
There's dozens and dozens of quote unquote rags to riches stories. So it depends on how you want to qualify.
Yeah.
Like Catherine.
I don't know. Like,
How
so,
about Joseph in the Bible?
So I don't know why, but mentally, mentification, mentally, I think of like rags to riches as in like you worked for it, but not in the like I played basketball or I played the guitar kind of way.
Because
I don't know. It just seems like an artificial. Yeah, I don't know.
Really?
Yeah.
So what about Charles Bronson?
That's if you were like a yes, that's fine by me.
But he didn't work to his greatness in the coal mine.
But I don't know. He seems a little more dude-like.
So what about Cinderella?
A rags to riches? Yeah, I can go with that one.
Okay, what about
LeBron James? No, I don't know.
I mean, he was poor, and now he's not.
But like, so like, I don't know. We don't get personal about things, but it's not like our parents came from like money, but you're doing all right in life.
Okay, here's the real story.
And so we go, like, would you?
Because you could make my life. If let's say I was making LeBron James.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say I was making LeBron James money.
Yeah.
You could easily say it's a rags to riches story, just because of how it sounds. But I didn't feel like I grew up poor. You know what I mean? Like, well, he was raised by a non-working mother, and his father was a bus driver, and now he's making $10 million an episode.
Right.
Like,
Rags to riches.
is that really rags to riches, or do you have to be on the street?
I don't know. Yeah.
What about
that's a tough
homeless person begging on the street finds a winning lottery ticket? Is that a rags to riches story? Or do you think there's a work ethic? Like the description says there's a work ethic component to it.
Seems like there is, and
It's a real rags to riches story.
and it's not
You
like
just
to
buckle down and
like besmirch.
lottery.
No, like a basketball player that had to work hard, and I did free throws 3 hours a day, just to get like I get that there's work involved, but I don't know. Somehow it's different in my mind than I was flumping coal, and I don't know.
Okay, what if it was so you think you have to work for it to be a true rags to riches story? So like, let's say a supermodel who is down and out and got a waitressing job, but
You're gonna get me in trouble.
somebody notices her and instantly puts her in all the magazines, goes from poverty to wealth, but she did nothing for it. Rags to riches story?
I refuse to comment on anything moving forward, because this is all gonna go bad for me. I could feel it. I could feel it. This is not good. I refuse to comment anymore. It's over. Okay, I did come across this little internet story though about a successful person in the Okanagan. It said I owe my success as
Is that a thing?
with fruit farm. I owe my success as a fruit farmer to my dad, because whenever I felt in trouble or scared, he always told me to grow a pear. And so that's the success of the fruit farmer.
That's funny. I thought this is a real story. I'm like, there's no success stories in the Okanagan. But what about Joseph in the Bible? Is that a rags to riches story? He's thrown in a pit. sold
but worked
as a slave.
He worked his way out of said pit.
Yeah, so is it Rags to
So he
Riches
was
story?
sold, and then he worked hard in the jail so that even the jail master said, this guy's got something. Let's put him in charge of XYZ.
Right.
And he did really well. And then when he got out, it's like, tell the Pharaoh that I can answer
Then
his
he was
dreams.
the right-hand man of the Pharaoh.
And then he turned out, and then he saved the whole country.
So that wasn't hard work. It was...
Well, there was some divine, like,
Right, it
providential things in there,
right.
but he also worked it. It wasn't just like he was... And he came out of jail, and because he was so good looking, they put him on a magazine. The end.
Right.
Success.
So it's not Rags to Riches
I don't-
if it just happens by accident.
I don't know. I go back to my original phrase that I refuse to comment.
All right.
I don't know. I want to involve some work in there, and so
Sarah Jessica Parker, Benito Mussolini.
Mussolini. No, there's someone to strive after. It's a real success story.
David Letterman.
Mussolini is a real success story.
Stan Lee. His father was a dress cutter who only worked sporadically after the Great Depression.
You're trying to draw. I feel like this is a trap, and I refuse to speak any more about it.
And then somebody spotted him and said, that guy
Hey!
will make magazine covers.
Isn't it time to get into riddling?
Stan Lee, put this bikini on. Is it? Is it that
I
time?
think it's that time.
All right. Well, Riddling is a game we like to play that takes a two-part trivia-based question, and we demand a two-part overlapping answer, which is why we have the word link in the title. So, for example, just for an example, let me give you one. Last week, episode 211, we did that surprisingly interesting queer the pitch idiom.
The pitch was queered.
It was. And we left you with this one. To be street performer level distracting on this show within a show on The Simpsons. Again, it was to be street performer level distracting on this show within a show on The Simpsons. So last week when I read it to you, you're like, got it.
I want to go queer the pitchy and scratchy.
That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
Perfect.
And that's how you play Riddling. So I've got a couple for today.
I've got a couple. Let me get the ball rolling.
Let's roll that ball. Have we done get the ball rolling as an idiom?
I don't know. We should. No, this is a little tricky. So, illegitimate children, you have to put on your thinker.
It's tricky to rock a rhyme.
To rock around, it's right on time.
It's tricky.
It's tricky. Okay. Disney's Duncan family babysits their little sister.
What?
In the book about Willy Wonka. Disney's Duncan family babysits their little sister. In the book about Willy Wonka.
Disney's Duncan family. Okay, well, the book about Willy Wonka is Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, so it has to end with Charlie.
Yes.
And there's
It's
a
a
Disney
sitcom, yep.
sitcom called Something Charlie.
Okay, well, there you go.
Babysitting Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
It's very close. Illegitimate children, I know.
Charles and oh no.
Charles and Charlie in the Chocolate Factory. It is Good Luck, Charlie.
Good luck, Charlie.
And
now
the
that you
Chocolate
say
Factory.
it, I don't think I've ever seen it, but
Oh,
now that
yeah.
you say that, I
Good Luck, Charlie.
recognize it right away. Okay, well, I got one.
Okay.
Let's give you this one. I hope you get this. This was a hard one for me. I just stepped on gum. Who spits gum out on the red carpet? Is an example of this. When I was poor but became wealthy.
Oh, man.
I know. It's a I just stepped on gum. Who spits gum out on the red carpet? That's an example of this. When I was poor and became wealthy.
Well, I'm going to include the Rags to Riches as the ender.
Yeah, you got that.
So
I'll give
this
you-
whole gum fiasco is...
So that was an
Right.
example. I had to look up examples of, and that was an example of something you say when you're like, you want to sound complaining or disappointed, but really it's elevating you. So you're complaining about the gum, but meanwhile, you're on the red carpet.
Brags to Riches.
Yeah, just one word before that. Because you're not really bragging. You're
Humble brags to
That's
riches.
it. That's it. It was a toughie.
Oh, man. It's hard to describe a humble brag.
Right.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I looked up a lot of examples,
Yeah.
and some were funny, but
Okay, this one's for my nerds. My nerds gonna need to chime in. Illegitimate
my
nerds.
nerds at?
Where's my nerds at? Mandalorian medal. For Coke dealer Tony Montana. Mandalorian medal for Coke dealer Tony Montana. My nerds are screaming. They know the answer.
I know it too, but man, Madagascar face.
The type of metals.
Remember obsidium.
It starts with the B. Village Idiom children know this. It's Beskar face.
Is that all it is?
Beskar.
I had a 3 or 4 syllable.
No, it's Beskar.
What's the metal in Avatar? It's like so ridiculous.
Unobtainium.
Unobtainium.
So stupid. Yeah.
Oh, that. How many people did that pass by?
So on the nose. How do we get it? You can't get it. It's unobtainium. Anyways, well, for this next one, Village Idiom Children, we would love to hear from you. Reach out to us on Instagram at the.village.idiom or email us thevillageidiompodcast at gmail.com, or whether it's the Facebooks, the YouTubes, or the Twitters at 3 Minutes Gone.
You'll get this one. Men performing as women can go from poverty to wealth.
Okay.
Men performing as women can go from poverty to wealth.
And that is 3 Minutes Gone.
Woo!
Very fun. Well, there was that. Get that out of your head.
Yeah.
I enjoyed putting today together.
I just need to be more realistic about my idealism.
That's what the fortune says. Happy New Year, friends. I'm Skinny.
I am Jurassic Mark.
And these are the Village Idioms.
Or will I go from rags to riches?
That's 3 minutes gone.